Somebody would say, well, if I can read a book and find true happiness, why do I need to go beyond that?
Yeah, I would say, first of all, reading the book is stage one, and it does lead you through these 4 levels of happiness, and why each level, as you're moving up the chain, is not adequate. So it moves you first, through just what might be called materialistic happiness, right? The kind of happiness that comes from some kind of external stimulus, like a great bowl of linguine or a Mercedes 500 E-Class with leather upholstery and great German engineering. But I mean, essentially, that's happiness. But then the book explains why that'll never be enough. And because it's not enough, we're left again empty. We're left again with all kinds of anxieties because we have unfulfilled needs on these other levels. We have these other desires within us, and those other desires are unfulfilled. And furthermore, of course, there are existential anxieties just, linked up with being just level 1, just being a materialist, just being interested in pleasure and so forth. So we move to level 2, and level 2, of course, brings in the whole ego comparative thing, a perfectly important kind of desire. Of course we want to get ahead in the world. Of course we want to achieve more. Of course we want to cultivate our intelligence. Of course we want to be competitive in the world. Of course we want to have successes and to win, and of course we want to have esteem and respect. And these things are not bad things, but if you start living for them alone and you forget about levels 3 and 4, again, those same kinds of feelings of real emptiness begin to happen. But in addition to those, you have jealousy. Fear of failure, fear of loss of esteem, alienation of all kinds, inferiority, superiority. Then you have contempt, and then of course you have a terrible feeling sometimes of inadequacy. And then if you make a mistake in public and you really are a winner, God help you, because at the end of the day you're going to have what I call a terrible anxieties, right? So if I mispronounce the word spectroscopy as a spectroscopy 3 times in public, right? And somebody corrects me after a public lecture and says everybody thinks you're a crazy or just a foolish person because you mispronounced this word 3 times. I could go home at night, play the tape 100 times and have suicidal feelings at the end. It's not enough. Ego comparative happiness is never enough, and when we accentuate it too much and try to make it our all, of course the stakes cannot prove out. And of course level 3, it's the same thing, a contributive happiness as well, which of course is a completely different kind of happiness. But it too, even though it is so perfect in so many ways, right? I want to make an optimal, positive difference to my family, to my friends, to my community, to my church, to the kingdom of God, to culture and society if I'm so lucky. But at the same time, right, if all I have is that, and I'm still a transcendent being, I still desire perfect truth, love, goodness, beauty, and home, I'm still invited by God into the fullness of His infinite and eternal reality, and I ignore that, those same feelings that I just talked about, cosmic alienation, loneliness, and guilt, they're going to come back. So in talking about that book then, what I try and do is lead people through not just why is it that happiness 1 and happiness 2 and happiness 3 are inadequate if we live for it, but we need happiness 4 and all the levels of happiness, right? Why is it, though, that happiness 4 is so important, right? Why is it that final level, which is so easy in our materialistic culture to ignore, why is it the culminating one that brings us to our true nature and dignity and destiny?
Well, I want to talk a little about some
answer to your
yeah, to answer, go ahead, Father, because we've got so many questions coming in.
To answer your question. Oh, okay. I'll just answer this less loquaciously, and I'll just simply say it this way, that we also have to talk about how do you stay on level 4 and how do you make level 4 effective. And the book actually does go into that. Right. But then every reader must put it into practice. Right. And if you do put it into practice, I think you will find that happiness, a whole new kind of happiness, a whole new way of life can be yours, and it'll be yours in Jesus Christ.